Well, law enforcement and paramedics are often the first on scene to save us in an emergency.
But on frigid days like today, how do they make sure they're not putting themselves at risk while still responding to car crashes or at-home accidents?
KIMT News 3's Jessica Bringy joins us live from Rochester with how they prepare for the cold to keep us safe. Jessica.
George and Amy, well, it may seem obvious on freezing days and nights like these, layers are really key. And both paramedics and law enforcement say by bundling up, they're not only able to help themselves, but their patients as well. When an emergency happens, law enforcement and paramedics are there to help. But on bitterly cold days, they take extra precautions.
If we're not prepared, then it's a distraction from patient care, and we can't do the best we can for patients. Senior Director of Ambulance Services Paul Drucker says Mayo Clinic plans ahead. They have a daily leadership brief with agencies across Minnesota and Wisconsin to discuss weather events, road closures, and look ahead at the next 24 hours. We were looking ahead to this cold snap knowing that this is a pretty extraordinary risk for patients and our crew members. Vehicle operations, the vehicles don't always perform the same way when it's very cold. Assistant Supervisor Kate Arms says on cold call days, crews put additives in the fuel so the diesel-powered ambulances can perform in the low temps. Cold also impacts the way paramedics interact with patients.
Patient who's outside, that affects the way that we run our calls, in that we can't leave a patient outside, or we need to make sure that we can get them from their home to the ambulance faster than we normally would. So they're all things that we have to account for in the way that we do patient care.
Arms says cold weather can, of course, increase call volume.
Today just happens to be one of our busy days that our call volume has been up. We've been running a lot of calls, some weather related, some just happen to be medicals in the system that we've been out and running.
Minnesota State Patrol prepares, making sure to bundle up so troopers can be outside for longer periods of time.
It's real tough to prepare yourself when it's this cold, but what we do is we have really good clothing, so we just wear multiple layers, and we try to be outside as little as possible, but we just try and stay warm and wear multiple layers and just try and not think about how cold you really are.
And another way that you can help first responders is by grabbing a shovel, cleaning out those driveways and de-icing sidewalks so that paramedics can have easier access to patients. Live in Rochester, Jessica Bringy, KIMT News 3.
Important point. Thank you, Jessica.
It's also a good idea for drivers to have an emergency kit in their car just in case they're stranded while waiting for first responders.